This is my presentation about MyWikis. So my name is Jeffrey Wang. I am the founder of MyWikis. We've been around for 12 years now? Yeah, 12 years. And we have been hosting exclusively for MediaWiki for all of our existence. And we're basically the ones providing professional wiki hosting for MediaWiki. We have a wide variety of clients from small, passion projects to large companies. So yeah, I'm super excited to talk about the chatbot now with this presentation slides. So because we don't have a very, this is not an AI conference, I want to kind of revisit these terms so I can use them in my presentation. So the first thing is context, and that's what we call the text to search in. Second thing is the question. Third thing is the answer. I think those are pretty self-explanatory. It's important to note for the wikis that the page is the context that we're thinking about. Question answering model is a class of models that are designed to give answers to prompts. So ChatGPT, the GPT model has been trained to do that. And then an LLM is the large language model. And everyone knows what GPT is. There are also some others made by competitors to OpenAI. To recap from 2023, I know a lot of you were not in Austin, so I wanted to kind of give you a throwback. So when I was in Austin last year, I presented an experimental QA chatbot that MyWikis worked on at UWCon 2023. But there's a lot that's changed since then. There have been releases of new versions of GPT, Gemini, Claude, and more. We've had lots of refinement in the approaches that we're using to, have these chatbots work and work efficiently. Companies, everyone's been experimenting with them, and the industry is slowly converging. I shouldn't say slowly, quickly converging actually on the approaches that work really well. And the good news is that OpenAI and Google and Anthropic, etc., they have been increasing the input token size or the context window size in major LLMs so they can input more text all at the same time, and that makes them more powerful, obviously. So we just did this brainstorming exercise. Thank you for going through that with me. So then the main challenge becomes, because we just have, we could do vector data, we could do embeddings, we could do, train your own model. But what's the best way to do it? How do we deal with searching a large amount of text when LLMs can only set limited input tokens and you pay by the token, right? So let's take that brute force idea that we had and kind of think through these things. So I'll save you the time to think about it. There are some approaches that we want to avoid. The first one is training a special model for a wiki. I promise you, I've done it before. It is not worth it. It takes way too long to propagate updates. I'm talking about hours of training on a CPU to propagate one page update. That's not going to work for Wikipedia. That's definitely not going to work for any other wiki either. It's way too much computation for infinitesimally small ROI because you just have too many changes that you need to make in a timely manner. And if the training takes several hours, how are you going to be able to use a chatbot to make have near instantaneous updates? Another approach that we could do, like Yaron was saying, is you can use the API to retrieve the data, all the pages, and feed the entire wiki into the input. I don't think that's going to work for Wikipedia. It has well over 128,000 tokens. Used to be the token limit was like 4,000 last year. Now it's going up and up and up. But just because they exist does not mean it's going to do to use it. Remember, we pay by the token, right? As I said. So, whoops. We accept limited input tokens and we pay by the token. So this is a very limited resource that we have to be careful with. So MyWikis has been doing some research in this. Okay, yes, I need to be in the camera. Well, maybe I'm shy. Our approach is an RAG-based approach. RAG does not refer to a cleaning cloth. It means retrieval augmented generation. And that's just a very fancy way of saying, let's search for stuff, use that search data, and then feed that limited search result into the LLM to get a certain response. So we're going to leverage an existing LLM. We're not going to reinvent the wheel, but we're not going to be using an OpenAI plugin because trust me, I work at Microsoft. I know how things are shifting with OpenAI plugins. It is not the move right now. Semantic search or reasonable alternative is a great way for us to be able to turn that query that the user gives and parses the meaning out of it so that we can search for the appropriate text in the wiki to then feed into the LLM to finally formulate the response. And we need to use prompt engineering here to ensure that the search that we're searching among the retrieved text only, the reply is friendly, helpful, and relevant, and we want to minimize hallucination and minimize inappropriate language. So I'm super happy to announce that MyWikis is releasing a new product called WikiChat. It's your wiki's dedicated, friendly AI chatbot. With it, you can ask questions about anything on your wiki. You can actually use any language you want to acquire, and it'll respond with information on your wiki in the language that you want it to. So how would you use it? We created a special ask question page on wikis enabled with WikiChat. And you can just type in a question, wait a few seconds, and out pops the answer. So the approach that we took is based on what I kind of described earlier. We are leveraging the benefits of cutting-edge LLMs, and with this, we can actually update the latest models with relative ease and speed. We don't have to retrain anything. We can make sure that this LLM is using its broad corpus of knowledge still, but it's only using that to be able to parse the data that we're feeding into it and respond to it when we're only searching within the wiki. And that's great for privacy. We're not mixing other, or at least we're trying not to mix other existing data into it. An analogy that someone came up with is that like an LLM is like kind of like a judge, right? The judge can make decisions about individual cases based off of just the information that the case has. The judge is highly trained. They probably have a Juris Doctorate, right? And they have all this previous prior knowledge that they use to make the decision, but it's not supposed to impact their final output, which is their decision on the case. So WikiChat is capable of searching both public and private wikis. So we're not leveraging like Google's API or whatever. We're leveraging the internal MediaWiki API and authenticating it only to WikiChat. And there's no need to retrain this model with every single edit because updates propagate as quickly as the search index updates. And it's very low cost. Magnitude is lower than April 2023, in fact. If you take a look at the cost of each token used, and a token is a word, by the way, like, or not a word, but like, it's basically, think of it as like a character count for LLMs. They have like at least gone down by 10 times, if not more, since April 2023 because of all the optimizations that have been made to LLMs. So it becomes very feasible to actually use this. And yeah, it supports hundreds of different languages. So I could have an English language, and I could type in Devanagari script in Hindi, and I would be able to get a response in Hindi. I could do it in Chinese, I could do it in French. All these are options. So here's an example. I'm gonna do some static examples first, and then we can try with the live demo. Sales tax. What is the sales tax in Texas? So people will say it's 6.25 or it's 8.25. But fun fact, at MyWikis, we are a data processing service. So the state of Texas says that we only have to pay 80% of the sales tax of our revenue. I don't know why, but hey, we have to follow the law. So the correct answer is 6.6%. If this search, just from a broad corpus of knowledge, it'll say 8.25 or 6.25%, depending on where you are in the state. But it's not, because for us specifically, it's 6.6%. And it explains exactly why. It takes the data that is from our Help Center page, and it explains that, okay, it's even though the standard tax rate is 8.25%, where MyWikis is incorporated, we get 20% off on sales tax. And it applies uniformly to all Texas customers, regardless of where they're located. Nonprofits and public institutions are exempt from paying it, etc. So this is all accurate data, by the way. And we have another very common question that we get asked is, how do you link a custom domain? So we can now tell them like, hey, you just follow these instructions, point a CNAME over here, and you're done. And then I also tried to ask you a question in French. Puis-je payer avec euros pour mon wiki? So can I pay with euros for my wiki? And then it says, here's a response based on the information that I found. Yes, you can pay with euros for your wikis on your wiki on MyWikis. MyWikis accept payments from a variety of payment methods, currencies, notably the euro, for EU clients. And that applies to MyWikis Europe, because as Bernard said, right, MyWikis Europe is our set for European clients. So yeah. And then here's a question that my good friend asked. He asked on the Help Center page, who was the first US Secretary of Defense? So I was like, thanks for wasting my tokens. And also, but it's good that it didn't give a response, because we're not trying to be a free ChatGPT website you can go to. We want to respond based off solely of the information on the wiki. So it gave the correct response. So now I want to try it. We have a few wikis I've loaded up over here. Let's start with the Abnormal Psychology Wiki. So I took this course in college, and AbPsych is basically to study mental disorders and things like that. So I would like to open it up to the floor to ask a question, and I'll type it in.
What are the current therapies for mild depression?
Let's see if it says it. But this wiki doesn't have that much information on it. Okay, this is not working today. That's fine.
What is the question you can answer?
Yes.
Well, what is the difference? It should be able to answer this one at least.
Oh.
Not today. It's sleeping. All right, let's try the Help Center. But I wanted to basically, I don't care if it's failing right now. The point is that this is real, right? So how do I migrate to MyWikis? Okay, now it's actually spending some time loading, so that's actually good. Okay. Unfortunately, it's asking for it in, is that
Portuguese?
Yeah, it's like Portuguese. Oh my goodness.
Double down on Portuguese.
So it's a feature for Chinese languages?
Okay, so it's very clear that Anil and James were not planted, because this is not helping my cause. Okay, here we go. So now I can say, like, how can you migrate to MyWikis? And I don't know if this is exactly the correct information. This is about if your wiki gets suspended because you don't pay. But that's okay. The thing is that we are constantly iterating on this, and yeah, just terrible luck today. Let's see. So another one would be the Plano Asia Fest wiki, and so
Just put that on the same Chrome window as the other
Okay.
one.
or let me just copy this. So let's ask this a question. Where is the festival? So this is a festival in Plano, Texas. That's where I was born. And it's happening in a few weeks. So I gave them this chatbot, and it says that it's located at Haggard Park in Plano, Texas. Anyone else has like a generic festival-based question that
What is the festival about?
What is the festival there? I don't think it's going to answer that actually, because I don't know if we would put it in there. Is it? Let's see what it says. we overcorrected on on being able to answer multiple. This is the joy of chatbots, right? So this is why I want to do a live demo. It's fun. I don't care if it's not working properly. You know very well that AI could be finicky sometimes, but we can always try to redo it. There we go. Okay. This is about the festival parking situation. It's because I know why though. This is because we don't have a description of what the festival's about on this wiki. It's on the wiki, or sorry, it's on the event's main page. That's why I don't have it on the wiki. But that was a good question to ask. Yeah. And so you'll see that it does try to take the meaning of things and try its best to find something in the wiki. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's head back to this. I'll just switch it over to here to make it easier. Okay. And you can feel free to go back there. I'm going to fix the app site. I don't know why that's broken, because I do want to answer both Neil and James's question. Anyway, where does this apply? So the beauty of the chatbot is that it applies to all of our wikis. You can use it for your personal wiki. So if you had a family wiki, which we have some people doing, you can ask, who was the second aunt of Uncle John's wife? For gaming wikis, right, we can try to see what the drop rate of rune armor is in the wilderness. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about. Topic wikis, what's there between ADD and ADHD? And then enterprise organizational wikis, I think this applies to a lot of people here. For a law firm, they will want to be able to find all their prior cases that they defended in court. And they want to be able to use precedent and their old case text to be able to build that, so we could use this to find it. If you work at NASA, you can maybe use this to look up, summarize the Artemis launch dates and provide that information for you. You could also summarize the NASA upgrade procedure if you wanted to. And we have quite a few things down the road that we can develop on. We have been working on adding image support, because some AI chatbots are now able to, you can pass in an image and it can use that to answer. We want to add conscious or chat histories, dynamic chat-based UI, just like ChatGPT has. Perhaps some cross-wiki knowledge synthesis if there's demand for it, and then speed improvements would be great as well. And let's add respond to the correct language. And what else was there? Yeah, just don't mess up, I guess. So those are all under development. So I'm super excited to announce that if you are a MyWikis client in the not in the US, but if you're on our .com service, WikiChat is immediately eligible for you to use immediately. We're going to start with some very nice introductory pricing for the first few months as we continue to get feedback on this and just have this for your wiki. But yeah, we'll start with these prices. And if you are here today in Portland and you want to sign up for MyWikis, we will give you a 1-month free trial for a wiki and add WikiChat onto it for free as well for a month. Yeah. Awesome. And then the best part is, I would love to work together with y'all. I know that this has, massive ramifications because being able to use a chatbot on your wiki is super important, right? And we're constantly iterating to improve what this is. We're going to learn from these mistakes today, and I would love to show you guys examples of where it works more effectively than it did today. So please feel free to reach out to me either at the conference or email me. We are happy to work together with you to bring it to either you or your clients. So if you are a consultant and you know a client who wants to incorporate LLM-based technology into their wikis, please contact me as well. We can work together. If you yourself have a wiki and want to install it, also talk with me, and we can, work together. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any questions? Oh my goodness. All right, I think I saw Rich's hand first.
So I understand it might not be in your business model, but in theory, would it all work in a private network that didn't have access to the World Wide Web?
You know, I have literally thought about you asking this question too. And absolutely, as long as there's a way to use like an offline LLM. So I know like large companies like Microsoft can have this. We have our own private LLM because, you know, we pay so much. We basically sustain OpenAI, so we can do whatever the heck we want. I don't know how that works for the US government though, because you wouldn't be able to use that and just connect to OpenAI's APIs, right? Like I wouldn't be able to sell this to you immediately, but we can work together because this underlying technology, I'm happy to work with you on getting it as long as you can provide the underlying LLM somehow. And let's see if the government has that. All right, Anil?
Two-part question. One is about LLMs. So right now, if you have a chat bot, it kind of understands basic English. In med school, it's a whole different language. And so it's a medical LLM. And above that, maybe a neurosurgeon has a whole different vocabulary. So the pyramid goes up like that. So if we created, I think you were answering that, if we created a LLM that was more like a med student, we could use it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
The second part is, so quaternary care facilities, meaning, you know, MD Anderson, Hopkins, you know, research facilities. They have all this proprietary data. They would like to monetize it. They want to use their data to build a graph that is unique to their specialty. So Mayo, for example, is very good in rare diseases. They've seen most of, you know, more than the other facilities. So if they built a small graph, a small wiki, is it reasonable to think that a patient could say, this is my profile, but I'm going to query the Mayo wiki versus the Hopkins wiki, and there's a paywall on each, meaning, you know, you were saying that you can query a public wiki or a private wiki. What if the wiki is behind a firewall for a hospital with different domains, different expertise? Is that a use case for this?
Well, I think I said earlier about we could theoretically support cross-wiki knowledge synthesis. And that would include just querying across different wikis. Because right now this would only query across one wiki. And so it is possible, even with a paywall, I think it does add a wrinkle to it, but it's still possible to add that. And you could say like, you know, oh, you wanted to query from XYZ wiki, but you don't have access to it yet. So pay first, and then we'll tell you the answer. That's possible as well. I think the challenge there then becomes, you know, how are we going to know which APIs to query, because each wiki has its own different API. Are we going to have to move to some sort of other, you know, search engine or semantic search index that we have to do? Things like that. I'm not going to go into the proprietary information that we have for WikiChat today, but just know that we are using a lot of MediaWiki, what MediaWiki already uses, so it's actually quite lightweight. We just have to work our magic to make use of it, because there's some reverse engineering we have to do. And that's why you saw the somewhat irrelevant answers. And I can explain this later if you guys want to hear about it, but that's what happened. So anyway, yes, you can do cross-wiki querying if you wanted to. It would just be a lot more involved, and probably it would be more work on the search side than the retrieval side, rather than the generation side, if we look at the RAG.
That makes sense, yeah. Thank you.